clarify. So some towns, Susan, that's what you're saying. Some towns have separate glass recycling and they make it into products like concrete.
So they do, well, they work with a company that's right over the border in New York, and it's called Urban Mining Recovery Authority. And in fact, in those towns that participate, it's illegal to mix your recyclables. You have to separate the glass out. And it's a chemical engineering firm. And so they use the glass, things that my understanding is that are safer than concrete and all construction projects.
Well, that's
Interesting.
interesting.
That is
I'm sure there's a market for that.
Glass is made from,
I couldn't find anybody in Connecticut that used to call it the broken glass down into pieces.
Okay, well, thank you for bringing it to our attention, and
Interesting.
I'll look into it look into that further if we can. If we ever get our Winter Brothers, that would help understand their process better as well. But that's interesting to know, because it's also interesting because I thought that the state statute made it mandatory to single stream, and you could not necessarily enforce the separation. In other words, like in Orange, we do encourage the separation of the cardboard, but we can't enforce it and we can't demand it because the law says that it can go in single stream. So you have cardboard, you can put it in with your blue bin if you can cut it small enough, or even at the transfer station, you don't have to separate it, although it's highly encouraged.
Yeah, I wonder how they punish you if you don't. I wonder how they do.
I have no idea, but I know it did pass in some sort of legislative meeting in 2018 for those towns. Yeah, they did go through the state.
Must be in agreement with the recycling facility, I would hope. So, do you know if it's picked up separately? Is the glass picked up separately, or just, I mean, at curbside? Is there a separate?
No, it is not. No, it is not. It has to be brought to their transfer stations or to pick up locations in the towns.
Okay.
Yeah.
so Mitch, may I ask a question?
Yep.
Winter Brothers, they're responsible both for curbside recycling and at the dump, at the town transfer station?
That is where our material goes to.
Okay, all the recycling goes through Winter Brothers.
Yes. City Carting actually does the hauling.
Okay,
The hauling ends up at Winter Brothers.
okay, thank you.
Connected to the internet.
Wendy, I think is that Wendy? Sure.
Hello.
Is that Wendy?
It is. Sorry, I'm having lots of technical difficulties on my end, so I guess I'm on the phone.
Okay, we got you on the phone. Okay. Is there anything else for public input?
For me.
Susan, that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Susan.
All right, next up is review and approve the minutes of January 20th, 2021 meeting. Is there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
I have a question.
Yes, Loretta.
On the second page, the simple recycling textile rates, where you have, so you list them monthly, right?
Yep.
And simple recycling picks up in September. And they're paying us about 6 cents a pound.
That comes out, if you do the math, that comes out to $115 a ton. But when they give us the report, it's by pounds.
Oh, so, okay,
If
so it
you
is,
divide $115 a ton by 2,000 pounds, it comes out to 0.0575 cents per pound.
okay, so then December, that's not correct?
Correct, I see that
This
now.
is-
Yep, there's a typo in December. Yep,
The figure is correct.
the figure is correct, the rate is incorrect.
Oh, all right, so I'm sorry, could you just tell me that again? It's how much a ton?
$115 a ton.
$115 a ton. Okay. Okay, thank you.
If my math is correct, because that's how they figure it. They do it by the pound. How many pounds they pick up times 0.0575.
Okay.
Boy, nothing gets by Loretta.
Yeah, that's great.
What?
Nice bookkeeping there, Loretta. Way to go.
All right. Are there any other questions or corrections to the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve the minutes of January 20th, 2021 as corrected? Motion, Eileen?
Eileen made a motion.
And a second?
I second.
Second by Loretta.
Wait, is Eileen allowed to do that? Mark's her husband.
What's that, Loretta?
Is Eileen allowed to accept her husband's minutes?
Yes, she is.
Oh my goodness.
Is she
Boy, I'm afraid to approve anything.
Yeah.
This motion's made and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? If not, that motion carries unanimously. Okay. Mark, Treasurer's report.
We're showing about $1,907.44. There was no activity since the previous meeting, and the only activity for the year was the one sign that Fast Signs did for us that got broken at the transfer station.
Okie dokie. Any questions for Mark? If not, next up is the update on residential participation rates. We took a big dip in this January versus last January. 73.49 tons as opposed to 89.29 tons last January for a dip of 17%, 17.7%. We were up the year, 2020, we were actually up 4.3%. So hopefully this is just an aberration for that 1 month, and we'll see if February rebounds.
I just don't,
Although with all the snow, I'm not sure.
Mitch, I just scheduled on Facebook talking about the 4.3%. Saying good to everybody, but should I now hold off on that, take it away?
No, it was a yearly amount, and as you can see, even in 2020, like October was down 15%, but June was up by 12, and March was up by 18. So if you take it all together, hopefully it'll continue to be continue to increase our recycling.
I'm thinking with the holidays and COVID, people didn't do as much on Christmas, so they didn't get as much packaging and things like that. That's probably part of it.
More packaging. Everybody's got more packages.
Not necessarily. People probably bought less gifts, did less shopping, didn't buy themselves as much stuff. That's my guess.
And I told them, in my article, I told them, don't use wrapping paper.
That's right. You did. I listened to that, although I get yelled at for not wrapping things. I'm being told I'm lazy. Which is true.
Yeah.
The update on the textile recycling with Simple Recycling. We also had, you might say, a bit of a dip in January too, but as I spoke to them, they expect a smaller amount in the winter time. But we still took in for the month of January 11,000 pounds of recyclable materials for Simple Recycling for a net to the town of Orange of $652.22. So still going, I think going well. The bin at the High Plains was picked up a bit from the month before, but still lower than they want it to be. But we'll talk about that later in the meeting as well, as we talk about the shredding day coming up. All right, any questions about Simple Recycling? All right, we're on to old business, which the first thing is the bane of my existence.
Yeah. Non-existent shed.
And that's me. I'm up.
Shed at the for plastic bags. I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks.
I was at the transfer station, Mitch, on Saturday, and I had a bunch of plastic bags. I asked, who's the lady at
Vicky?
Nikki? Yeah, I asked her, is there any temporary spot to put the plastic bags? She said, nope, take them home or throw them in the hopper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
I was
how about
afraid of that.
Target? Or,
I know, that's why I wish you would tell people, take it to the grocery store or Target or Kohl's. or-
Right,
yeah.
right.
Is
Well,
there any way to get her to do that?
that's not just her.
I know, well, I mean, is there any way to get the people at the transfer station to say that instead of put them in the hopper?
Well, I also had a email from a resident who was quite upset, who showed up with a bunch of bags, asked down below, what do I do? And they say, just throw them with the rest of them. That's what we do. That's what we do with them.
Oh, no.
I had to explain that that's technically true, but not unless they're really bagged in the big bags. It's really frustrating trying to educate people, including our employees. So Chris, take us.
Yeah, so thankfully, Mitch, I do appreciate your persistence in this as well. I'll give an update, everyone. I've been in touch with Matt, the manager. I have been pursuing this poor guy since our last meeting and all the way in prior. Where we're at now is they did have they closed down the donation end and they shifted their monies. I think we talked about this in one of our previous meetings. So a lot of their money went to food insecurity during the COVID time. They have lifted now that ban, and we are meeting this Wednesday. I did confirm that, Mitch. I told him, between 5 and 5:30, I am hopeful that, was it Phil and yourself? And I was planning on being there as well.
No, Phil's not, but a member of the Rotary Club is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, Bob's going to be there.
Okay, thanks for helping to coordinate that. They have lifted it, unfortunately, because it's been over a year. I sent him pictures of all those pictures you guys sent me, so I let him know exactly where we're at. He apologized, of course, and and thanked us for our patience. But what we're looking at is a permanent lifetime guarantee shed that is going to be in that location. Although he did say he's hoping out there. He was going to go prior to Wednesday to kind of look at the space and size it up again and do some more measurements. It will be permanently installed. So they have a installation company that'll put the shed in. Obviously, this is where we're going to need guidance, and Mitch will have to help with coordinating it with the transfer station crew. But we will sign the contract again because it expired, and I said we really need this, in a couple weeks. So he is assuring me he's going to make something happen in a couple weeks up there at the transfer station to replace, and this will be permanent. This will be leveled off. He said it's really there to stay, wherever we choose, but it looks like it'll be in the same location. So
Right.
I'm hopeful that and he confirmed with me. So I appreciate that he's getting back, and we're set up to sign the contract and then hopefully get it rolling in the next couple of weeks to have something permanent there. So I'm feeling good about this. I think we've passed over COVID expectations for the Home Depot, and thankful that they're coming through on this end.
Okay, Loretta.
Since they're putting it up, should we give them some credit but ask that they do it, pay for it?
Put a sign on there saying, shed donated by Home Depot.
Yeah, they could do that if they want. We've given them a lot of publicity, and we'll continue to do so. For what they've done. Unfortunately, we've now seen 2 of their products not make it through the wind and the rain and the snow.
Well, that's why I thought if it had a sign that said donated by Home Depot and it fell over, that wouldn't say very much, right?
Was that other shed, was it broken? I know that I was leaning over, but did they throw it out, or could it just have been put it back up again?
Well, here's what happened. It's obvious that in one of the snowstorms that I don't think the plow necessarily hit it. I think they pushed pushing the snow to the sides. It got pushed up against it and damaged it and made it lean. Looked at the leaning Tower of Pisa up there for about a week, and then the wind came and made it unusable. And they claim, I spoke to the attendants there, they claim they tried to fix it, but it really had gotten into a dangerous situation, it was going to collapse. So they took it down because they felt it would be a safety hazard. And it would have been if it had
Mhm.
collapsed on top of somebody.
And
So-
recycled it?
Yeah, more plastic in the hopper, huh?
Can't guarantee that. I have no idea.
Maybe floating out in the Pacific Ocean on the plastic swirl.
I did ask though that I did ask where the bags are, and they've secured the bags, so those are still there when we do get this fixed. And the rack and pack is supposedly still secure somewhere, so we put that back. Mark,
So is the meeting then on the 24th to sign the contract?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's actually I think to reapply for the grant.
Yes. Yeah. He made it sound like, Matt, that he's working on the shed, but he does have to reapply and submit the paperwork again with a current date on it. So, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
He's got to
The shed-
reapply for the grant.
The shed is actually has to be donated to the Rotary Club,
Mhm.
and the Rotary Club is going to donate it to the town. So that that's the pass through to make it a charitable contribution for the Home Depot, because if they can't contribute to the town, it's not considered a charitable contribution under their IRS laws.
Hmm.
So, but they will contribute and that's why we need someone from Rotary there, once again, like we did last time, who will actually be, literally applying for the Home Depot grant, accepting the shed officially, just having it placed at the transfer station. Okay? Everybody's got that? All right. So we're looking forward to our meeting in a couple days.
Yes.
It was so fast. So, all right. Simple recycling at the transfer station has been moving along well. I understand the only biggest problem we've been having has been their signage, which has been damaged and wind torn and everything else. And every time I go there, I'd be moving these these heavy metal magnets to try and secure it. And I come back the following week and it would break free. So I put you guys, and Loretta answered the call at finding a handyman or a handy person to secure the banner. And Loretta, why don't you tell us what you did?
Oh, I went out there with Tad. He's from Woodbridge. He's a friend of mine, and he's just extremely handy with everything. So I went out there with him one day, and he looked it over and he said, "Oh yeah, easy." So he came a couple days later. He bought special screws and washers, stainless steel, and just with his drill, bam, bam, in every one of the grommets on the banner. So I counted. I forget. What's 9 and 9? 18 and 10. There might have been something like 28 grommets or something. And that was it. It looks good, but the poor sign, wow.
Yeah, the sign's somewhat tattered, but it is
Yeah.
affixed now where
Yeah.
it shouldn't be blowing or tearing any further, hopefully,
Right.
for a while. And we'll see how long it lasts, but it's been fixed. And Tad's bill was sent to Simple Recycling. So Loretta, just keep me posted to make sure he gets paid. So
Okay.
it was $160, which I think is very fair for his time and
The
materials.
material, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Did he have his address on there?
He
Good.
It's great. Thanks.
Thank you.
All good. Once again, our tour will be held off until we can go safely. Is there any other old business anybody else would like to bring up tonight?
These wonderful minutes. Let's see, there are two things. I think I mentioned about the corrugated cardboard, putting it directly in the hopper. I said that in one of my newsletters, but then what about this on the beginning of the minutes where Chris Kelly mentioned that Alderman Dow Iron and Metal Company takes batteries of all sorts? Could I put that out there, or Eileen on Facebook, so people ask?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if it's a local place that takes batteries, it's certainly for those that want to recycle batteries. You might want to make a phone call first, Loretta, to them just to make sure that's a fact.
Everybody shows up with their boat batteries, their car batteries.
They'll say, "Oh, Loretta Smith from the Orange Recycling."
Right, right. Oh, that's a very good
But
point.
getting back to the issue of the transfer station, is to anyone who's watching this program, just to remind people, while the bag is incapacitated, the bag is incapacitated, people should either A, hold on to them, and they do compact pretty well. Hold on to them, as I've been doing, or bring them with you to ShopRite, to Target, to Home Depot, to Kohl's. They all take plastic bags and plastic wrap if you're willing, if you want to, just to make sure it's, recycled and also separated from the other products, because the plastic bags and wrap do not go with the other recyclables because it's not recyclable in the same way. Okay. All right. New business. We're quickly approaching April, believe it or not, as we end February, March, April. So April 10th is our shredding day, and I have put together a draft press release that Eileen says she's working on dismantling and making better for me. Wendy has made some suggestions about, instead of talking about touch, to call it top the trunk. And Eileen, you'll incorporate that. And then Chris has mentioned that he thought it might be a suggestion, and you guys can tell me whether you think this is too cluttered in the press release or not, to let people know that while you're at it, bring your clothes of any condition and shoes of any condition to the simple recycling bin behind the community center while you're here. So I don't know, I got a thumbs up from Karen on that one. So Retta's shaking her head saying yes. So we'll incorporate that into the press release as well.
Sounds good. Thanks.
And that's something that can be done anytime, day or night, 24/7. But you're right. I mean, Chris makes a good point. While people are making a concerted effort to load up the car to the transfer station, whether it's with documents for shredding, mattresses, box springs, if while you're doing that cleaning, that spring cleaning, you got clothes or things that are damaged, it's
that might fill up too fast if that happens.
What's that?
You think that might fill up too fast if everybody?
That should be the biggest problem we have.
Yeah, I would like that. I'm there every day walking the dog, and I've never seen anybody put anything in it. So I was just
you're not down there. But here's
good.
That I actually thought of that. If that actually is to have it be full, and then before we leave High Plains that day, if there's anything that's overflowing, we personally can take it to the transfer station, because it goes to the spot, and the transfer station is open till 4:30. So
I'll do
we
that.
have that same day.
Sure.
But I think Chris's idea is a great one, because not only will it hopefully help fill that bin, but also get people used to, where it is, how easy it is to get there, and hey, I can do this on a Sunday. I can do this on a Sunday,
I think we should get a sign or two made that would go put up like right next to the sign for the shredding day at the High Plains Community Center. Clothing and off or whatever.
Those would probably be more likely made, I think, when I actually print signs.
Yeah, it's only going to be used at one time, basically.
Right.
Yeah, I could do that. I could, because I have the signs that we put throughout the town. I can make something that points people.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have leftover signs from the election cycle.
I was
And
about
if
to
you
say,
take them off, you take them off and turn them inside out, and then
That's
take
exactly
them back
right.
on with white duct tape. Then
That's
you
better.
can use that. But I don't have any sort of good printer to print big words. If anybody has a printer and can print the words, I could glue it on to the ones I have.
Or some big time Sharpies will work too. I don't know,
Yeah.
Chris, what your thoughts were.
Paint.
Yeah, I was thinking a big Sharpie, but a big printer would be ideal. But I don't have access to one either.
No, I think a couple, even a handmade sign at the end of the driveway, they're right past the shredding, say, clothing and shoes this way to the right. With one or two signs pointing to the bin. That's a good idea, just for that day.
Chris Chris, because remember that group of women who used to collect items there before?
Yes.
People were bringing things to them. Now they're not there. So this is perfect. This will pick up that group of people again and more, we hope. Make it a work. And then we talked about moving the sign in the spring when the weather's better, right, Mitch?
Yeah, it's possible, but once you move it, you really can't move it back. So if people get used to where it is now,
Yeah,
that should work.
sure.
Yeah,
Let's see how it goes.
Uh-huh.
bringing more attention. I could connect with you, Eileen, offline too about the signage, and we could work on something before.
Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Guys. And Eileen, you'll send me your proposed changes to the
Yeah,
press release?
soon.
Mitch, was there any way to address some of the bottlenecks from last time, which was people either wanting to watch their documents actually go to visualize it, or else they didn't want to drop them off. There were a few people like that, or people who put them in nice bags and wanted to get their bags back. They were getting out of the car, and
Right.
B, it was making a big bottleneck. So was there any way to address that?
I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
Thinking of that too.
We're asking people to stay in their cars, to pop the trunk. I also put another line in there about if people want their boxes or containers back, let the person know, so they'll know to get it back to them.
I think they would have to pull over into the parking lot, have one person, like, if I would to take their stuff, wait for it, because sometimes it doesn't go in right away, and then return it to the car that's parked, but they would have to then back out into the line. But it was also people who were adamant about actually making sure that their stuff got shredded. They wanted to see that, visualize that.
Right. So how about this, Wendy? I'm just thinking out loud at the moment. If somebody comes up and says that, which you just described, have them pull, it's going to be a little bit of a walk for them. Have them pull straight ahead into the parking lot area, the parking spaces that are but the walking track. And then they would have to, if that's what you want, we'll help you carry it. I mean, somebody's got to go over there, walk 50 yards to carry it. We'll help you carry it if you want, bring it back over, but then that is not holding up the process. But on the other hand, I'm really not trying to encourage, hopefully a lot of people have been vaccinated, but I'm really encouraging people not to get out of their cars.
Right.
And we can't have them just sit there and watch the little TV screen from their car.
Right.
So, if people insist, yeah, we want to accommodate everybody, but I also don't want to, you're right, we also don't want to hold up the whole line. So I would say if somebody really insists on, watching it done, they're going to have to pull not to the side, because that becomes a problem, as everybody who's worked this knows. Then it's the backing up, it's the backing out. They'll have to pull straight ahead all the way. Does everybody think that's a good idea or not? I mean, that's my thought. Loretta.
What about going around to the right and directing from the school? Those spots, so they sit there in the car then, and we can lug their stuff over, just cross the grassy strip. We don't want them out of their cars, so we'll lug their stuff over, then they can sit in their cars and watch it being shredded.
Another idea. They'll have to, the way to do that, though, they have to pull back out onto Orange Center. You can't take a right and another right.
You can't?
Well,
It's very special.
well, no, it's even, what, you don't want to be directing. We don't have people here to be directing traffic against a one-way
Yeah.
loop.
I don't
So,
know.
yeah, that's not a bad idea, but you'll have to say that we can give them a choice. You can pull straight ahead, or you can go back around and then go to the outer loop, pull into one of these spaces, and watch from there.
We even
I
had
think too, we got to be careful. It seems like the last couple of times the cones get moved in, and those cars get awfully close sometimes. And I think one of these times somebody hits the wrong pedal, and someone's going to get hit. And if that ever happened, I think that might make it rough.
They're coming in really hot. I almost think we need those like little kid things, like with the little person flag because I don't know, they probably have a lot of things to do and it's Saturday and it's on the list and maybe they just drive fast. Back.
It gets sketchy at times, I think, and they're all cars close to you and.
Yeah.
Can't we direct traffic? We have a lot of us.
Yeah, we
And
could,
the Rotary members, can we get down where they're starting to come in?
You know, some of the people were very insistent about getting through the day when we said you couldn't get through anymore.
Right.
So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking also, maybe, I mean, I've got not many of them, some of those cones, one of them belongs to Karen, but, some of those
That was
cones,
from,
I mean,
that
I
was
guess.
from Washington State. That was from like Seattle. That cone has made it across the country.
I guess we could talk to the highway department and see if they have cones they can, let us borrow for the morning.
that's a
You know,
thought.
that might give us more direction, you know, intended and where the cars would go. You know, more of a funnel through the cones from farther back. There's that, this one getting around, not getting around kind of thing.
Sometimes I think too, if we collect their papers from like 5 or 6 cars back, so they're already done and they're like the heck out of there. They're, you know, 4 cars ahead of them that haven't collected their papers yet, but they're trying to get around and
Mhm.
it gets a little sketchy at times.
Well, then maybe we gotta be a little more patient ourselves and just take
Yeah.
out 1 or 2 cars and then
Right.
let 1 or 2 go and not take 5 or 6 back.
I think always wanted to feel useful and like I was doing something. So every time a car would come, I would get there, you know, so it would be 8 or 5 or 6 back or whatever, but maybe we should just spread ourselves out. So we have someone stationed, you know, in the beginning, so they just slow people down and halfway and, you know, and we could rotate around or whatever, but just so we're all bunched up, you know, and then if you feel like you want to have something to do, so that's why you move down the line a little bit.
Right.
Do you think that, I can't remember, did we have police forces there?
No.
No, I mean, because when we have a block party, they drop them off.
That's a
They don't
thought.
charge or anything.
What are they?
The
Roadblock.
horses.
It's a long thing, a long white thing, or 2.
Oh,
The right horses.
One thing, you know, there
Yeah.
are quite a few people who come through there on shredding days, so maybe our safety or police department should just be notified about it and know, you know, because it's potentially going to be a little traffic jam there, and
Yeah, that's a
And-
good idea.
maybe they can look at the traffic, like the safety plan for it.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah,
It's a great
All right,
idea.
so I'll be in touch with a few people about that then.
yeah,
And
and
it's worked out. Listen, I think it's worked
Yeah.
out pretty well. Even the last time I thought it would, actually last time I thought it went, despite what sounds like a lot of problems, I thought it went really smoothly. There were
Yeah,
just
I do
a couple
too.
of people
Yeah.
that are impatient, you know, and it's like anything
Yeah.
else. When you go to the has waste, some patience. When you go to get a COVID vaccine or COVID shot, you know, you got to line up. You go to Connecticut Post Mall for a COVID test. You got to line up and you're in your line. You just got to wait.
Mhm.
You know, it's by the way, it's free.
Yeah.
You know,
Karen, can you get COVID vaccines there too?
there
Like,
you go.
we'll
That
just
would
take-
but I have the reserves that weekend, so I won't be joining you guys. But
You're
yeah, but
serving.
I've been
Serving our
fast
country.
with my vaccinations. I've volunteered to give vaccines, and I'm fast. I go through my vaccine real fast. Boom, done.
Thank you.
The other thing I was thinking that we should put in the press release is to encourage people to bring their documents or whatever they want shredded, not in plastic bags, because those do pile up.
Yep.
And it's just one more thing for us to think about.
Okay.
In terms of safety, yeah, people just have to be patient, but I think there were a couple of close calls. Just the last couple times. And we don't want to have a tragedy or anything
Nope.
there.
Nope.
So,
I think we should also include in the press release to ask everybody to wear their mask even though they're staying in their car.
Excellent
You know
idea.
what?
Yeah.
I mean,
Good idea.
I guess to me, it's like, second nature for most people at this point to have a
Yep,
mask.
do the right thing.
I don't think you make it mandatory, but if you just say, please be conscious and try to wear your mask at all times.
Idea.
What would be this year we have it for a giveaway.
Hey,
It's not.
true. Oh, just one quick thought. I believe last time we talked about perhaps like at the halfway mark, depending on where things were at, we may, and if folks were in agreement, we may start to put things in the van, the secure van, to offset that kind of running out of the shredder being full and people wanting to see it. Is that something we still want to entertain, you think, where we reevaluate it halfway, and if we're getting full, we start to put things right into the van and avoid?
Yeah, we should talk to Joe about that, Joe Johnston from Affordable Solutions.
Okay.
If people are not concerned about watching their
Yeah,
document
exactly.
shredded, and we can start boxes the excess, because we do take in, unless this is different than the others,
Amazing.
we take in more than what that truck can hold. And go from there. Well, once we get finalized, it'll be sent to the Orange Town News, the North Orange Times, Orange CT, or print whatever they want, but we still
Right.
everything else.
So I won't submit anything then from the recycling, because you're gonna put it in the March issue. Like
Yep.
of the Orange Milford, so I won't submit an article so that they'll take yours.
No, you can still this should go as a standalone. You can still put
Yeah.
your tips.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, if they decide not to put both, that's their decision. But I think they would put this in,
Oh,
in,
yeah.
in addition. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Mitch, you had put one of your quotes said something about we're happy to